Okay. Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. So I hope that your week is off to a good start. I wanted to do a live today to touch on something that has been coming up for a few different people that I have been talking to. The fear of the unknown and resistance. This is something that I feel like I have kind of a hard time talking about sometimes because I don't know if it's like just my personality type, but I'm a very like action oriented person and I just go. Like I don't really like pause before, like whenever I decide to do something, I just do it and I figure it out and get like right down to business. But I know that that's not everybody. There are a lot of people out there who are like, they just take like a little bit of time to make a decision. So I want to kind of like bridge the gap between the two a little bit and help you. Like if you are somebody right now who's like feeling like resistant, feeling like you're kind of in like a weird like gray area, maybe a few of the things that I'll talk about, maybe it'll help you kind of make some decisions moving forward. So the big thing, like one of the biggest things that I feel like I hear from a lot of clinicians or therapists that are new to starting a practice, starting their own business, is that it's like there's like a fear of the unknown. Like whenever I like ask people, like why haven't you started yet? Like what's holding you back from starting now? It's always like, well, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know like how it's going to go. I don't know if I can get patients. I don't know how to start a business. I don't know this. I don't know that. Like I can't treat on my own. Like, what do I do? And that's like just something that will like hold people back a lot, is that fear of the unknown. And I think like a lot of us like to be like as prepared as humanly possible for everything that we could possibly be doing. And so like jumping into something that you don't already have like hours and hours of experience doing can be really scary. And that fear of the unknown, I feel like really it holds people back a lot. So I wanted to talk to you, like if this is you, if you feel like you are in a place of like being really like resistant because of the unknown, like that's kind of like the realization that you're coming to is like, I haven't started a practice yet. I don't put aside the time to work on my practice right now. Or like, I'm not willing to invest in myself, whether, it's new equipment, new software, hiring somebody, hiring a business coach like me, like investing whatever time or money that you need to into your practice because you don't know what to do or like you don't know what the outcome is going to be. This video is for you. So stay with me. Let's conquer this fear of the unknown. So first thing that I really like to ask people about, kind of like a little like thought experiment. Like right now you're afraid. You are afraid of the unknown, don't know what's going to happen. It's making you feel resistant. It might be making you like not take action, and also might make you feel like you're doing a lot of busy work and not a lot of like meaningful work. And things are just like weird because you are really worried that if you do XYZ, you hire a business coach, you hire a PT or an admin at your practice, you put yourself out there on the internet or in public to promote your services, you start a practice, like starting from the ground up. You're worried what will happen because it's unknown. You don't know. So here's a thought experiment is I want you to think, and it would be excellent, like bonus points if you journal about it. Sometimes writing things out can be really helpful too. But I want you to think about, first, what is the absolute worst thing that could possibly happen? The worst thing that could happen if you do XYZ. So worst thing that could happen, and here we go. I'll call myself out on this. The worst thing that could happen if you were to hire a business coach, because I have hired business coaches and I've had some good ones and ones that like were not really the best fit for me. The worst thing that could possibly happen is, I would say like one of my like not negative, but just like not so great experiences was that I felt like I was kind of just like a number in a group coaching program, and that like I felt like the program itself was like not a good fit for me, and I had spent a good amount of money on it, and it was like not a good fit. Like it was for an outcome that was like kind of completely different than what I wanted to do, so of course like some of that's on me. But when I tried to like express the fact that I felt like I wanted to do something else, I felt like the coaches on the other end didn't really like take that to heart. And so it just like, it wasn't like a good fit at all. And I felt like I was just kind of stuck and I wasn't being helped. And let's see, the other thing, I felt like I didn't get very much information. That was one that was kind of a struggle. I felt like I had spent a good amount of money, but like I could have learned all of the same stuff like just on my own. Like it didn't get me there any faster than what I would have done on my own, which is like a big deal. Like that's a whole reason to invest in, business or marketing, like coaching or program, is to save you time. If you're investing money, you need to be saving time. And if it's not saving you any time and you're not really getting any other benefit out of it, then it's not worth the money. So like, I guess like the worst thing that could possibly happen with this instance is that it's like not a really good fit. It's not what you ended up wanting it to be. And then, like the people on the other end are not willing to work with you on that. Yeah, and it's just like not really worth it in the end. That's like the worst thing that could happen. The best thing that could possibly happen is like one of my clients earlier this year generated over $15,000 in sales while we were working together. I've had multiple people in their first couple of months opening a cash practice do $7,000, $8,000 like per month in the first couple of months being open as a practice and selling your own services on your own. That's like the best thing that could happen, or better, because like everybody has different experiences and different ways that they go about things. So those are the two questions that I really would urge you to ask yourself. And I love this because like when you consider what's the worst thing that could happen if I grow my own practice, and versus like what's the best thing that could happen if I grow my own practice, now you have a range. So like this is like the mind-blowing thing is like now you have a range where both ends of the spectrum, and then anything that happens will most likely fall somewhere in the middle, if not towards the higher end of things, the better side of things. And now you know what could happen. So like the fear of the unknown is now gone. Like I hope that's making sense. But for those of us who are like really wrapped up in well, I don't know what's going to happen if this, if that, if whatever, and so I'm just not going to take any action because I'm worried about what could happen. Like what's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Now you have a range, and now all of the possibilities are within that range. And you've now taken the unknown to the known, and it's no longer a mystery. So let me know what you think about that, because I think that was like a really important piece that like it made me feel a lot better when I was going to make decisions about different things in my business, and I'm worried about like what could possibly happen. What's the worst thing that could happen? What's the best thing that could happen? And great, like now we have all of the possibilities pretty much. And it made it a lot easier because like if there is a chance that the best thing that could happen, then like sign me up. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to give it my all and try my best. And most likely I'm going to end up towards like the better half of that spectrum. And then the other thing that I really want to urge you to ask yourself with this, so now we have that fear of the unknown, conquered that real quick, and, talked about like the best versus the worst thing that could happen. Now we also need to consider what will happen if I don't try this, if I don't start a practice, if I don't invest in a coach, if I don't, buy that plinth that's been in my Amazon cart for, 6 months. What will happen if I don't? And for a lot of us here, if you're in a place where like you're just starting a practice, and you're considering in that thought experiment, like the worst thing that could happen is you could start a practice and never get any patients and maybe lose $1,000. Okay. Best thing that could happen, you could make enough money to replace your income, and then you can leave the job that's been making you miserable for a really long time, and now you're living your best life. So best versus worst thing that could happen. And so what is going to happen if you don't try that? And we can do any kind of situation, so leave some comments below if you guys are kind of considering something else. But if you don't do this, what is that going to lead to? And I know for me, if I had stayed in my first job that made me miserable enough on a daily basis that I would cry every day on my lunch break, if I had stayed, I don't know where I would have been at this time if I did not try to open my own practice. I know that my mental health was suffering quite a bit, so I don't know. I don't know what would have happened if I had not decided to do that. And so what is the cost of staying on the edge of the cliff versus making the decision to jump off into the unknown? And is it worth that? Are you going to look back and regret trying or not trying? So just something to really think about with that. And my guy Travis, how do you take away the fear of the unknown? Try the things and now it's known. I have literally never thought about it that way. I always try to think about the worst and the best, but then I get fearful of the worst thing happening. Oh, Travis, it's okay. I think a lot of us do. I think humans are just kind of wired that way for survival to an extent. But you're not alone. I think a lot of people feel that way, is we get paralyzed by the fear of the worst thing happening. But what if the best thing happens? Are you going to take your chances on a 50-50 split of the best thing could happen? Or are you going to not take any action because of this fear of the worst thing happening that hasn't even happened yet? So it's not even based in reality. It's just your thoughts projecting onto what could happen. And then look back, 10 years from now and wonder what if I had tried. So I hope that's helpful, especially for my guy Travis here. Taking away the fear of the unknown, consider the worst and the best, and now you have a range of all the possibilities, asterisk virtually, all the possibilities that could happen. And now and you have to say okay, am I okay with this? I know for a fact that the worst thing that could happen if I start my practice might be that I get no patients and I'm down $1,000. Great. I still have my full-time job, still have a PRN job, still doing whatever I'm doing. I can still go out and get a job and earn the money back. That's it. That's the worst thing that could happen, versus the best thing that could happen. And I think either way, if I could go back and talk to myself 2-3 years ago, I would still feel the same way. I would still say, give it a shot, just wait. In the next 2 years, you are going to do really, really amazing things and really great things. And basically replace your full-time PT income. So I hope that's helpful. So I just wanted to speak to, if you've been struggling with this fear of the unknown and it's paralyzing you and making you not take action and not make decisions, which is, just as not good. If you're being indecisive, you're not taking action because you are fearing the unknown, just sit down, write out the worst thing that could happen, the best thing that could happen. You now have a literal range of the possibilities, and now you know the things that could happen. And then you just have to decide if left and right are worst versus best things that could happen. You have to decide, am I going to stay where I am and not take action? Or am I okay signing up for this range of possibilities, and am I going to take action anyway and learn as I go? And, at least I tried. And you still have the possibility on the table of the best thing happening. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. Let me know if that was helpful or not. I feel like it was kind of a little bit of rambling, but I feel pretty passionate about this. If you're feeling like you're in a place where it's just like a lot of resistance and just like a lot of fear, we need to figure out a way to look at it in a like hopefully like a little bit more objective way. Instead of like cowering behind like the feelings of fear, use your fear as fuel and think about it as, you know, what am I going to lose if I do not try? Like, what am I sacrificing by not trying? And is that okay with me? And sometimes that's a lot more powerful than even just considering like the worst thing that could happen with whatever decision you're trying to make. Thank you so much for watching, and look forward to hearing from you.